In a world of glitz and glam, flashing lights and screaming fans, most people are unaware of the war that rages behind the scenes. And that war includes your favorite artist and your favorite songs. This is The Dark Side of Songwriting. Hosted by Nayim Edwards.
Welcome to The Dark Side of Songwriting. My name is Nayim Edwards. I am your host. Audio only today because I got home too late to try to fiddle with the lighting, but this situation could not wait until tomorrow. This is an emergency. If you have not got a chance to watch Kevin McCall on that podcast, breaking down in tears, explaining that he is so broke, he is a recipient of food stamps, you need to stop this right now, and you need to go and you need to watch that before you listen to what I'm about to tell you. Now, I'm assuming that you already saw it if you didn't pause and go watch it. That right there is the dark side of songwriting. See, as a consumer or as a person that's trying to get into music, or a person who don't really know what it's really like to be a songwriter, you would think that all songwriters is rich, especially a songwriter with a hit record, especially a songwriter that worked with Chris Brown, especially a songwriter that's got multiple hit records, Grammy noms, Grammy awards, all that stuff. You would look at people and you would just assume, because to you, it looked like it's working out, or it is working out from your perspective. They're winning, they got the look, they got the spot, they got the opportunity. But in real life, a lot of these songwriters is living like that. A lot of these people is so broke, they gotta live with other people, living with their friends, living with their mama, living with and they don't even have nowhere to live on their own. Can't buy nothing, don't own the leaves in their driveway. But they'll never come out and tell you that, because it's the pride that comes before the destruction. Let's make no mistake about what Kevin McCall did for Chris Brown. When Kevin McCall came through and was delivering Deuces, delivering Strip, delivering all these records that, I don't want to say they all sounded the same, but it breathed new life into Chris Brown and basically helped him get back on his feet. And I remember that when they had this whole falling out between each other, everybody was kind of confused as to what in the world, why these people, like, bro, y'all just had the biggest song of the summer. It's like people call that song Deuces a classic song by Chris Brown. That's personal interpretation or whatever. But it is definitely a successful song. It is definitely a hit record. And it is definitely a song that has won plenty and many of awards. And that's when people accepted Chris Brown back into the musical lexicon. Don't get that confused with the crying on stage for the Michael Jackson tribute. No, it was the Kevin McCall record. So you thinking in your mind, how can Kevin McCall be on food stamps as a person who has worked with mainstream artists? It's because all these people who come out into these positions, remember what I told y'all a long time ago. These people gatekeep opportunities because they want to be the only people to be able to sit at that table, because seats at the table for that kind of stuff is limited. When you're working with people like Chris Brown, Beyonce, Usher, all the big name people, you're already going through the door not being able to get your fair shake and your fair share. You might actually do all of the work and they throw you a couple of breadcrumbs. But the thing is, a million crumbs is better than one slice of bread when you're looking at it from the perspective of just monetary gain. The problem is, if they have a million loaves of bread and they just giving you the crumbs from those million loaves of bread, you might feel like you are in a powerful position because you're doing better than the writers around you. You're doing better than a writer that, and this is just perspective speaking because it's definitely not true, because it's a lot of us out here who ain't never received the SNAP benefit, who is probably never going to go through nothing like that, and we don't have no hit records with no mainstream artists. But that's the game that's got to be played, because with them, that's the game that got to be played, because you have the option to opt out of the system. And we talk about that a lot over here as well. That's why we don't sit around boohoo crying no nigga tears for nobody sitting around crying over the situations that they get themselves into. But we're still empathetic towards them, because a lot of people are just looking for that one opportunity. A lot of the things that said in songwriting is it's only take one record to really push you over that. And a lot of people, unfortunately, and I don't think this is morally right, but this happens a lot. A lot of people are riding on the success that they had long time ago, which you should be able to do that. But what can you deliver right now? You get these people who they just want to be better than the people around them and look like they're doing better than the people around them, but they don't have nothing to show for it. And then this ain't even to come out and say that you got to show your life or you got to show everything you're doing, but the truth is going to come to the surface. You cannot you can't get out here when you first come out, because a lot of the times we see the attitude with people who get their first major placement, and we're talking about people who get major placements with major artists, or they get a major placement with just really anything that's attached to the mainstream. They'll put on this facade and they'll put on this show like their life is something that it is not. And they will, because they came out like that, they're too embarrassed to tell you, hey, I didn't really make no money from this. Hey, it took me 7, 8, 10 months to get a check, and the check was $2,000 for 10 months. So like that, and you know, those are just really small examples. It's so many, it's endless possibilities as to what the situation could be. But by the time they are finished gloating and performing, I will call it performing. By the time they're finished performing for the public and performing for people, they got to come back to reality. See, they're married to a fantasy, but they will divorce their reality if the fantasy is not the real life. With Kevin, they probably took advantage of the fact that when you look at that clip or you watch that full podcast, they talk about, you know, you're one of the most talented people to come out, and you do this and you do that, and you should be celebrated even through your hardship. And you've got to come to the realization that talent in business, it matters, but it ain't really at the top of the list. Genius don't matter. Talent does not matter. It's a lot of stuff that does not matter at the top of the list. Now, it enhances your situation, of course, but there are plenty of people who are not genius, untalented, but are consistent, persist, and can get it done and get things done in a manner for which it is required, that are going to run a lap and a half around anybody coming in there trying to ride this whole I'm talented thing. My problem with this, because again, we don't sit around crying no tears for nobody, because everybody know what they're getting into. Because why are you just now coming out and speaking about this? This is what I have been talking about since years and years and years ago of starting this channel. These people need to be coming out, telling us these things as they're happening, so we don't have more generations and more groups of people falling victim to these things. But again, it goes back into, they're not going to come out and tell you the truth. They're not going to come out and tell you what's going on. They're not going to come out and tell you they're flat broke, can't make a dollar, don't have no business sense, not savvy, not smart, not nothing, because they're embarrassed. Because unfortunately, we live in a society where they think that if you even have a little bit of success, you are qualified to speak. You're qualified to give advice. You must know what you're doing because you're successful. That's like having Floyd Mayweather be the leader of your book club. What the hell do Floyd, he can't even read a page of The Cat in the Hat for real, but because he got money, you'll make him the head of it. And that is the problem. But the even bigger issue is songwriters have been keeping quiet about money, keeping quiet about pay because you go into the rooms with these people. I remember one time I was told, don't bring up splits and don't bring up pay. Okay, well, if we don't bring up splits and we don't bring up pay, how the hell am I going to pay my bills? You got to you get to this crossroad where you're going to have to make a decision. And this is why I told y'all a long time ago, before you even start giving your stuff away, you need to work on, and then we talking about people who write lyrics. Now, people who producers, you need to find one person, link up with them, do them, get you a group of people, do for them. If you from a major city, you need to be getting with everybody out there who can work. But we talking about people who write songs, give songs away, and write lyrics. You need to do that for yourself first. I don't care what it sound like, because you get these Kevin McCall situations because you're vulnerable, because you want to be in a position, because you've been working hard for so long. You've been putting in this work for so long. You've been writing these songs for 10, 15 years and ain't nobody gave you no respect. You make music, but don't nobody want to listen to it. You're doing all kind of work, but don't nobody care about the work that you're doing. So the first opportunity that come through is usually, especially when you're dealing with them, because everything, and we say them, we talking about mainstream, everything the mainstream do is predatory. Everything they do is predatory. You're not going to get a fair shake going with them folks. It's just not going to happen. Not on your first time coming out the gate. And if you do get a fair shake coming out the gate, you have done so much work on your own. They just want to be over there to be a part of that and basically try to, it's like having a biscuit with oil or something on the plate. They're trying to scoop some of that oil up to get some of the benefit. But how many people can you name that was like that? Currency, Russ, Dolph, Nipsey, Baby with Cash Money, No Limit. Look how far back, you know what I'm saying? Like, people like Chris Brown, they go to these places that they're not from. They search out the most talented people, and you think, oh man, I'm gonna finally get ahead, because nobody taught you what you need to do. Nobody taught you about how you're supposed to be getting paid. People make money to be this evil thing and this taboo topic, when somebody should have, before you even got in bed with these folk, somebody should have been teaching you about how to get paid. People always, civilian people, and I say civilian in the realm of people who don't do music, what's one of the things you hear people say all the time? You hear people say, knowing your worth. You should know your worth. Charge, what do they say? Charge your worth and add tax, or pay whatever and add tax. You've got to be comfortable being like, I need to be compensated for the stuff that I do. I need to be compensated for my work and my time. And if they don't want to offer you something up front, you need to be getting something on the back. Because there's no way this man should be on food stamps, period. But that's the reality of this. So many of them, and you not gonna hear nobody coming out to his defense. You saw Thug, I'll give you 25K. Breezy just busy. Man, that's bullshit. Capital B. Like, that is bullshit. You don't forget to pay your fucking light bill, otherwise you'll be sitting in the dark. And this is how this goes. Nobody's forgetting to pay nobody. Nobody's just busy. You don't hear people saying that Young Thug owe them money. You want to know why? Because Thug know he got to pay. When you, as a songwriter, accept mistreatment and you accept people telling you how you should do business, just know that you're going to be subject to whatever you're being subjugated to. If you walk in there like, I don't care what opportunities that I miss, if I'm not getting fair compensation, I'm not doing it. I'll make my own wave. I'll do my own thing. I'll go and work with 30 local artists and get paid what I need to get paid. Because when we talk about songwriter pay, we're not talking about no exorbitant amounts. I've already told you that exorbitant amounts is reserved for people signed to labels. This is why 600 people a year get signed, and you don't know who the hell these people are. you might be able to name 5 to 10 writers right now, but you don't know one of their songs. You might. I don't even know if you can. You probably can't. And if it is, it's the same 5 or 10. You want to know why? Because they're all signed and they all have contractual obligations to work. They're at work. They're employees. When you are, if you're uncomfortable doing business, you need to go work at Popeyes. Period. You ain't got to know nothing. You can be chicken and po' boy and is Popeyes the po' boy? Whatever. Let's do this. You need to go work at Burger King. If you're uncomfortable doing business, go work at Burger King. You can be sandwich ready in 10 hours. You don't have to know nothing. You ain't got to be responsible for nothing. You can go home at the end of the night. But if you want to do this, you need to take personal responsibility for what you don't know. And that money that you're investing in trying to keep up your image, that money that you're investing trying to keep up a facade, you need to invest in your personal education and invest in your business. I have spent a crazy amount of money investing in learning how to do stuff myself. Because not just because there was a time where I didn't have any money to pay people to do stuff for me, but because I know that what if I am doing something else? What if I'm busy doing this? I need to save money over here and do this. I need to put this up. And it gives me that creative space to learn how to do stuff. So if I have the option now, if I want to do it myself, I will. If I don't want to do it myself, I can do that too. You don't want to invest in that, but you'll buy Balenciaga shoes. You'll buy Amiri jeans. You're wearing Essentials t-shirts. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Like, you're investing in bullshit. You're buying jewelry. You're doing all of this. You calling niggas broke. But at the end of the day, where you pulling up to? If you pulling up, you hopping off the bus, going into the project building. You hopping off of the city scooter. You don't even have your own scooter. You're renting the city scooter. Hopping off the city scooter to talk shit to people who all y'all really in the same boat. Your boat just got a different layer of paint on it. It look a little different, but it's the same boat. The boat still got a hole. The boat still gonna sink. It's still a piece of shit on the inside. Y'all gotta get out of this mindset of that talking about your money and getting what you're supposed to get is uncomfortable. This is why it's just so easy, man. I tell the people that I'm mentoring and the people that I'm working with all the time, man, I tell them how easy it is to just take over. And I'm not talking about no BS takeover. I'm talking about real life walking in and just completely dominating the field that you're walking into, because we're dealing with people who are insecure about what they want to do. He's in this situation because he's insecure. He was insecure back then. He didn't know. They took advantage of him on that. He didn't know they took advantage of him, but he was too insecure to get the stuff done. I don't want to hear about what business, they did. No. If you grown, you can pay a lawyer to read something for you. You don't have to rely on yourself to know, because you probably don't need enough Googling in the world when somebody putting something like that in front of you. Pay somebody. You don't have $800? Find $800. Get a damn job. Do something. And what these people do, they're energy vampires. They energy harvest. They suck everything out of you. These people don't, oh man, he been doing this for 20 years. How he been doing this for 20? He been doing this for 20 years because he's got 20 years of people he can come and who is willing to give everything up, and they'll just absorb your style and keep the fuck moving. And when your style go out, it's going to always be somebody that's willing to come through the door, because you don't want to be educated. You don't want to do what you're supposed to do. But then you want us to feel bad for you. Nigga, I don't need you let welfare feed you. Because this is a good example only because it's a teaching moment. You don't have to live like that. That shit is a choice. Kevin McCall situation, it's a choice to be like that. Because there's a whole lot of other ways. No, it don't come fast. No, it's not gonna happen overnight. But what does? There are plenty of people having their way. There are plenty of people living good. all this superficial. Like, I hate it. Like, I cannot stand this. Like, I'm glad this came. I'm glad they got him on camera crying. And you saw how the dudes acted. Oh man, we all had a food stamp. No, you trying to make him feel better for this pissy decision and BS he got himself wrapped up into, because y'all think everything funny. Y'all think everything entertainment. This shit not funny. This is a motherfucker's whole life and dreams. Everything that they ever fucking wanted, the only thing that he ever wanted. And it turned out to be a goddamn nightmare. Because he wasn't taught. Because nobody around him, and especially people from places where you have a music industry. We're not talking about somebody from the middle of, I would say Indiana, but like, Indiana still got proximity. We talking about if a rapper came out of Iowa or something and it just ain't no scene there, ain't nothing there. And he didn't have no mentors, no way to get to nobody around. We talking about people from California where you ain't got nothing but legends and people who should be able to educate you, but it's so schemy, so scammy, so bullshittery, so much chicanery, so much buffoonery, and everything's a goddamn joke. And of course, this man's crying his eyes out and niggas is sitting around him laughing like the shit is funny. That's where we are. This is where we are. So any dream that if you not serious about it, you're supposed to be the most cold, cutthroat person when you walk in the room about your business. You don't have no friends. I already told you have no friends in music. It's not the music friendship. It's the music business. It's not the music, it's the music business. If you're not on your business, you can expect to be treated like this. And it's a hard life having to sit back and see your work everywhere and see somebody make 100 million and you don't even know if you about to get your SNAP benefits next month. You don't know if they about to cut you off. You can't take care of your children. Man, that is a shit. Look him in his eye and keep laughing about it. I'm surprised he didn't snap on them. I'm not watching that shit. I don't watch California prostitute praising podcast. I'm just not watching that. But like, this is where we at. The consumer has no idea what you're going through. The consumer has no clue. Oh man, Kevin McCall song. Yeah, he's rich. He had a Grammy and no. Most of these motherfuckers live with their mama, living with somebody else, 5 people in the house. Man, I ain't living like that, man. I'm getting mine. And my suggestion to you is you get yours. Because if you don't prioritize your business, you're going to end up just like this. And your situation might be worse. Because you might be on the city scooter, renting the city scooter on your Cash App card and not getting no SNAP benefits. He lucky they'll even give him that. I don't even know how he finessed that. And this, I'm going to say this last part because I got to go cook my lamb chops. But it's like, bro, like, y'all got to exercise some sexual discipline. You shouldn't have all these children and all these places knowing what kind of world we live in and what kind of people are preying on people who are actually going somewhere where your finances are going to be drained. He said, I'm not 2 Chainz. I don't know who he said he was. I can't even remember the rapper. He was saying that he's not rich and famous like those other people. Why is his child support $2,000? Do you hear $2,000 a month for your kids? Probably $1,000 a piece. I think he got 2 children. Because which is not a lot of money, by the way, but especially in California, Lord have mercy. But you don't have $250 a week for each. $500 a month. $500 a week for your children. Because you didn't practice sexual discipline. Because you got in bed with people who were putting you on this because when you was at your peak, when you was at your height, it was all this, it was all that. I don't have to be there. I don't have to do all of this. And now you're forced into the most humiliating situation that I think I've seen in a while when it comes to the truth coming out. Writers, people with accolades, you got to do better with telling the truth. We shouldn't be just hearing about this. This should have been already put on the surface. I think I've been talking for long enough, but I'm just saying, man, stay on your business. Because this is the dark side of songwriting.